as Rory Guy, right? That's his real name. And when we did the mausoleum scene where he hits me on the shoulder and says the funeral's about to, that scene, it scared the crap out of me, honestly, when we shot it. And so my reaction was how I would react if I had been frightened by something and surprised. So that's when I started calling him Angus from that time on. You just kind of changed it up for me and made it very real. And I just miss him so much today, Yeah.
One of my fondest memories was not that long ago. It was when we were filming Ravager 5. And there's a scene where Angus is in a hospital bed, and I'm underneath the bed. I know it sounds strange. Have any of you seen Ravager 5? I'm like, wow, okay. Yes. Well, so when our arms were interlocked, I really had a difficult time because I had a feeling it was going to be the last time that I'd see him. And it was just really memorable, and also I felt like, well, my perspective on the scene is that I was getting the full transference of power from the tall man. That's my perspective. I'd love to hear what was in your head or Dave's head for that particular, or maybe you just want to keep it a mystery, but that's my perspective on it, and that's my greatest memory of.
I think we'll keep that as a mystery.
Okay.
But I would like to tell one story about Angus that was particularly moving for me, which was, all of us were close friends of Angus, and he was, became like a family. And two things I'd like to relate. Number one, every time he'd come visit at our house, he was a great dog lover, and he would bring dog treats in his pocket. And as he would walk up the doorway, we had 3 dogs, and they would go nuts every time they'd see the tall man coming because they knew he was going to have a treat for them. That was one. And the other was, close to his end, he had this catastrophic event and was in the hospital, and essentially, he had, I don't know, stroke or heart attack or whatever, but we found out about it and raced over to the hospital to see him. And we arrived, and there were about a dozen of his neighbors in the waiting room who I'd never met before. And most of these people had no understanding that Angus was a horror movie star. They just knew him as the guy, who came to the park and walked his dogs every day. And they would have each told us, and they were so shocked as we'd explained it. He could come to conventions and there would be people who want to meet him. And we learned from them that their favorite memories were, sitting out in the park at sunset and him telling stories about his childhood in Kansas City and how he worked as a theater usher and at 16 and saw all the movies with the great movie stars. And they were just so surprised to hear that he had become a horror icon because he never talked about that. He was just that kind of person.
Well, let's see. This is a mic. So I have a memory that I kind of think is pretty interesting. So we're shooting Phantasm Oblivion, and it's 1990 something, and we have this brilliant idea that we're gonna need to shut down Wilshire Boulevard in Los Angeles, which is a main thoroughfare. It's a huge boulevard, there's giant buildings everywhere, and it's a big deal. And so, all we need is $1 million to shut down the street, and we'll have 50 cops, and we'll have fire engines, we'll have permitted deal. And great idea. So that's not going to happen at all. So what we decided is, I know what we'll do. Don, we'll shoot on Thanksgiving morning. It will be dead, no one will be out, right? National holiday and all that, and we'll get up at 3, and we'll be ready as soon as the sun comes up. We'll start shooting. We'll get a shot off before the cops come and shut us down. At least one, right? And so, okay, so we figured this whole plan out. Super micro crew, and my job is to receive Angus at 4 o'clock in the morning. So I live in Century City, not far from Wilshire Boulevard at the time, and I will never forget. It's early as hell. There's a knock on. And it's early. There's a knock on the door. I go. I know who's coming. It's a plan. But I open the door, and there's the tall man in full regalia, totally dressed, ready to go. And I open the door, and he's like, "Of course." He says it. That's right. And it's like, "Good morning, sir." He laughs. We have a chuckle. And he comes in. We have some coffee. And then. Get in the car and scoot out to the location, which was a successful day. We didn't get shut down by the cops at all. We got off 2, 3, 4 shots.
We did have an encounter with the cops, though.
Oh, really? We did?
It was a military operation. We had the whole crew in my van, and we were at one end of the boulevard, and the cinematographer put the light meter out. Okay, light enough to go. We go out, we're ready, and Michael's in place. And the makeup artist dropped Angus at the other end, and then action. And we knocked off a take of him coming down the street, and nobody was there. And then we were getting ready for another take, and he's in position, and an LAPD cruiser comes around. And we just all stand there like busted. And the car pulls up, and Angus is in makeup, and he just looks over at them, and then he smiles, and the cops just took one look, and then they just sped off. And we shot about 3 more takes.
That is a fun day of guerrilla filmmaking. It's really fun. It's like, it's illegal. You're doing something you're not supposed to do. Everyone is underpaid and overworked. It's 4 or 5 in the morning. It's Wilshire freaking Boulevard. There's Angus Scrim. It's pretty fun. Pretty fun.
Yeah, for anybody, who wants to make movies out there? There we go. Okay. This is all good info for you guys. Especially stealing shots, because you can't afford permits and stuff like that, and can't afford to get the cops there to cover your but so you just do it. The Nike thing, just do it. I always love that commercial slogan, because that's what you do when you're shooting low, no budget films. And just have fun with it and do it. That's the way to go.
All right, so Don, I noticed that you brought some posters with you.
It's time for the Phantasm Trivia Contest.
Let's have a big round of applause for the Phantasm Trivia Contest.